Hi, my name's Kyle, and I'm a bladder cancer survivor. It's been over 5 years since I had surgery to remove my bladder and prostate and rebuild my bladder with intestines into a neobladder. It's been about 5 years since my last video, too. And people have been asking me to do a follow-up video. And the truth is, I've been able to put, I feel really lucky, I've been able to put cancer behind me, pretty much. And I don't really think about it too much anymore. So it's kind of hard to come back and do another video about it. And you know, that's a good thing. I would have, looking back through all my treatment, people talked about the new normal, and back then I wasn't sure I'd ever get there, you know? But I did. So let's talk about the new normal with a neobladder. I pretty much am just normal. During the day, people don't realize, or wouldn't realize, that I don't have a regular bladder unless I told them, and there's no reason to tell anybody. So, to most people that I interact with, they've got no idea that I'm any different than a normal person. That kind of makes me think about my urologist when I first met him, when I first went into his office, and I was so upset about having been just diagnosed with bladder cancer. And one of the first things he said to me was, "Did you see all those people out there in my waiting room? 75% of them don't have bladders." And they all looked like, you know, normal people. So I go about my day pretty normally. I don't have any issues with incontinence, neither in the daytime or nighttime. I don't wear diapers or pads. I use the restroom just like anybody else. I guess the only difference is sometimes I have to use it more urgently. But really that's only if, you know, I've forgotten to go on a schedule. And times has gotten away from me. So daytime routine is hardly any different than it was before, at least once I've gotten used to the small differences I'll talk about later. Nighttime routine is definitely different. Generally I don't drink too much before I go to bed. I can, but it just increases the likelihood that I might leak. So, you know, maybe about 2 hours before I go to bed, I kind of stop drinking, or I watch how much I drink. I wear normal underwear and pajama pants at night, and that's generally enough to catch any small amount that I might leak. But it's pretty rare that I leak at all. Maybe once every few weeks. I have to set an alarm, or I do set an alarm every 2 hours on my iPad. So I've got multiple alarms that I use every night. So I use my iPad for my nighttime alarms. The screen as it is now is set for if I were to go to bed at about 11. So I would set an alarm for 2 hours after that at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And then I'd wake up to get out of bed at 7:30. So you can see that all of these alarms repeat every day. They all have the same sound, the marimba sound, and I can toggle them on and off depending on, you know, what time I go to bed and when I want to wake up, or if I wake up before an alarm goes off, I can go back and change it. So, you know, if I went to bed at uh, at 11, and then I actually didn't get up with my 1 a.m. alarm, but I woke up at 2 a.m. To go to the bathroom. Then I would reset the alarms. So if I woke up at 2, then I would set my alarm for 4, turn off my 5 o'clock one, and I'd probably just let it ride until 7:30 when I was going to get up. So the iPad makes it really easy to set an alarm schedule like this. I've learned to use the same sound for all these alarms because I can kind of sleep through it. Uh, I'd say I get up maybe I probably get up twice on average every night. Whereas I might have uh, 3 or 4 alarms set depending on how long I'm sleeping. So I don't get up for every alarm, but the alarm at least wakes me up enough where I can kind of do a systems check and see, do I have to pee or not? But I will wake up enough to reach over and hit the button on my iPad to turn it off and then go right back to sleep. If I use, and you know, I don't want to do that, reach over and turn off the alarm and go back to sleep. For an alarm that I actually have to get out of bed for. Like if I need to wake up at a certain time, that alarm needs to be a different sound. That's why you see this 7:30 is chimes, not the marimba sound, because all of my get up and go pee alarms are the same sound, and then my actually get out of bed and wake up alarm is a different sound. This solution with multiple alarms works really well. And it makes it really easy for me when I'm half asleep to reconfigure the alarms and set another alarm for the next time I want to wake up. Sometimes I have dreams where I'm either needing to pee or just peeing an incredible amount. And if I wake up from one of those dreams, that's a pretty good sign that I need to get up. So happily, no incontinence issues, daytime or nighttime. However, it's definitely different. I'm pretty much always tightening my core muscles. It's I didn't understand what that meant until after this experience. But it feels similar to holding in a fart. I don't normally realize that I'm doing it, but I think I pretty much do it all the time. I'm always clenching to hold the urine in. In fact, when I do urinate, sometimes I just sit for quite a while, just because I think that's the only time that I can fully relax. I do pretty much pee on a schedule. I do have some kind of a sensation that I need to urinate. It's definitely not the way it used to feel. It's more subtle, and by the time I feel it, I'm pretty much actively holding it back. I've got 2 different kinds of sensations. Sometimes I feel like I'm bloated. In fact, I can't tell the difference between being bloated with gas or having to pee. Sometimes I feel like there's urine that's about to escape. And neither one of those really is a for sure sign that I'm actually full and I really do need to urinate. Sometimes that bloated feeling is just gas. In fact, most of the time it is. And sometimes that feeling of urine about to escape is more just my nerves. Like if I'm in a long line waiting, and I can't get to a bathroom, or I don't know where the bathroom is, or I'm on a long flight, and it would be difficult for me to get to the bathroom, then I start thinking about it a lot, and that's when I kind of get those sensations. So it could very well just be my nerves. But there is something there. I do have some kind of sensation. It just feels different. It's more of a feeling of being just generally full. It's hard to explain. But I don't go to the bathroom based on that feeling. Normally it's schedule. If I haven't gone to the bathroom in the last 2 hours, then I'll just go. I can certainly last longer than 2 hours. Typically, I think maybe 4 is about the time length where if I go after 4 hours, I can tell I was pretty full. I remember during recovery, one of the more surprising things for me was how the muscles that I use to hold back the urine are pretty much the same muscles that I use to hold back gas. So if you think about holding in a fart, that's pretty much how I hold in urine. So it was difficult at the beginning to be able to fart without peeing in my pants, because those muscles are so close. And I've gotten a lot better at isolating those muscles. I would actually practice if I'm peeing at a urinal. Sometimes I'll try to pee without farting, or vice versa. Just to kind of work those two muscles and try to like figure out how to isolate those. I've gotten a lot better. I can fart without peeing, but if I'm full and I don't know it, and I start to fart, sometimes I'll start to feel urine about to escape, and I'll have to clench it off really fast. I don't remember any time where I haven't been able to clench it off. But that's one of those times where I'll urgently have to go to the bathroom. Like if I do that, then I'll like jump out of my chair and head to the bathroom straight away. But all of these differences pretty much just seem normal to me now. Even going to the bathroom, I certainly do it differently now than I used to. Whereas before, I've almost forgotten. I think I could just let go, and my bladder would contract and squeeze the urine out. And now it's definitely not like that. If I just let go, I get kind of a dribble. Unless I'm really full, then it'll come out at a reasonable speed. But most of the time what I'm doing is squeezing my core muscles. Pretty much the same way that if you were trying to pass gas, pretty much the same way you do that. So I'm squeezing the urine out. That means that I can't empty my bladder without squeezing any gas out first. And I think that's because I'm trying to contract everything down in my torso, and the gas, if there is any in there, contracts and compresses, and I can't get a good squeeze on my urine to get it out. So I pretty much have to let all the gas out first, and then I can squeeze the urine out. So I can't really pee discreetly anymore. It's kind of an event. But that's just the new normal. That's just how I pee now, and it's no worse than it was before. It's just different. But I don't have any trouble completely voiding my bladder. I never did. I've especially worked, peeing on a schedule that started because I asked my urologist, what mistakes do people make? People who aren't successful with neobladders, why is that? And he said the number one reason is because people end up stretching out their neobladders too much, and then when they get so big and they try to squeeze them, it's like just squeezing a balloon. You squeeze it here and it pops out here, and you squeeze it there and it pops out here. So from the very beginning, I made sure not to stretch it too much. I've tried to keep it small, tried to urinate on a schedule to keep it small, so that I would have the ability to completely void it. And I still do. So 5 years on, no issues with being able to completely void the bladder. Still no issues with incontinence. So I consider myself pretty lucky. And it's pretty much what my urologist said, that I was going to end up being pretty normal, and that's what's happened. I'm really glad about that. I do, of course, see doctors, still see my urologist, still see my oncologist. I had a nephrologist for a bit. I've been able to stop seeing him. I'm now seeing a cardiac oncologist. So there's been some complications. The biggest, or the most noticeable for me, complication was the stent in my left kidney calcified and caused some damage to my left kidney. So for a while I was getting frequent kidney stones, probably about a stone a week, and that landed me in the emergency room a couple times. I saw a nephrologist for that, kidney doctor, and he prescribed me allopurinol and potassium citrate. I was able to stop taking the potassium citrate. I ended up not needing that. It's the allopurinol that completely cured the kidney stones. So I take that once a day, and I haven't had a stone since. If I don't take it for a couple days, then I'll start getting stones again pretty quickly. But a daily dose of allopurinol has stopped the stones entirely. For a while, when I was having the stones, my scans showed that my kidneys were swollen, and that caused us to look into my kidney function. I had to have a diuresis, a renal scan, to measure my kidney function, and we still monitor kidney function with blood draws whenever I see my oncologist. But it's gotten no worse, and I don't have to take any other precautions. I'm not in kidney failure or anything. It's just that we know there was some damage to my left kidney. There is some concerns about my heart. I've got a high heart rate anyway, even before chemo and the surgery. I had a high heart rate. Some of those chemo drugs, the MVAC drugs that I was on, are known to cause heart problems. So with my high pulse rate and the fact that I've been on pretty strong chemo drugs, and one of my scans showed fluid around my heart, that caused my oncologist to send me to a cardiologist. So I do see a cardiologist now. I'm on metoprolol to lower my pulse rate. That seems to be working though. So I don't have any issues with my heart that I know of, at least not that were caused by chemo. So I do have some complications. The biggest one is the kidney stones, but that is cured by the allopurinol that I take every day. So that ends up not being an impact to me. If I think about what is an impact to me, probably the biggest impact is nighttime. How I have to set alarms every 2 hours. My poor wife has to try to sleep through that. It doesn't bother me. I don't realize I'm any more tired than I was before I started having to set those alarms before cancer. But it must be affecting me because I do have to wake up every 2 hours, at least wake up enough to turn off the alarm. And a 2-hour duration is not a whole lot of time to get any good amount of sleep. So I probably don't sleep that great, but I don't notice any effects. Aside from those 2-hour alarms every night, maybe the next biggest impact is just me getting nervous. I know that I have to pee on a schedule. So like I said before, if I'm stuck in a queue somewhere and I know I'm not going to be able to get to a bathroom, that makes me kind of nervous. Long flights, I used to just like not drink before a flight, but then I get dehydrated and I'd feel horrible. So I just make sure that right before I get on the plane, I use the restroom right before I get on the plane, and then as soon as I step off the plane, I run to the restroom. I was trying to sit in aisle seats so I can get to the bathroom easier. And I try not to drink too much before a flight. Same thing with movies. I try and sit, near an aisle. Actually, any kind of like sporting event or movies, I try to sit next to an aisle so I can get out easily. Car trips as well. I have to stop a lot more than I used to. So, urinating on a schedule isn't a big deal. It's just kind of the new normal for me. But there are some instances where I get a bit nervous about it. That's probably the next biggest impact. Well, and then there's, when I had my bladder removed, I also had my prostate removed. So I'm sterile now. That's a huge impact. But I wasn't planning on having any more kids. I've got one, and he's great, and I didn't really feel like I needed another one. So I don't feel too bad about that. I can, speaking of with the prostate, lack of prostate, I still have erections. I still, maybe not as easy as I used to, but that could just be because I'm getting old. I still have an orgasm. I just don't have any ejaculate that's associated with that. So I can still have sex normally. I'm just not having any more kids. So in general, my new normal feels pretty normal. I feel really fortunate for that. I was so worried. I didn't I'm sure I talked about this in my previous videos, but it's been so long now. I had a really tough time trying to decide what kind of urinary diversion I was going to go with between an Indiana pouch, where I have a stoma, or a neobladder, and I had heard so many horror stories about neobladders. I was nervous about incontinence. My urologist assured me that I wouldn't have problems, and I had a hard time believing him. But what he said was true. I don't have any incontinence problems. It's very rare that I leak. I don't have to wear diapers or pads. It's definitely a lifestyle change because of the alarms, and I think I could get away with 3-hour alarms. 4, I wouldn't do 4. I'd probably leak if I did 4. Especially as the night goes on, I will increase the alarm duration sometimes. So it's 2 hours at the start of the night, and then sometimes I'll bump it up to 3 towards the end of the night, because I'm not generating as much urine. At least that's my theory. By the end of the night. But aside from that, I'm pretty normal, I think. I remember when I was first diagnosed, I knew somebody who was a survivor of colon cancer, and I asked him, "Do you ever stop thinking about cancer?" Like, it was all I was thinking about when I was first diagnosed, of course. And I asked him if he's ever stopped thinking about it. Like, does he ever forget that he had cancer? I wouldn't say that I have forgotten, but I don't think about it very much. Really, the biggest direct impact is urinating on a schedule, but that's not a big deal. I guess one of the ways it's affected me, I think, it's hard to put a finger on it, but I guess I'm more susceptible to emotions, I think. Things that wouldn't have affected me before affect me more now. I'm quicker to cry. I'm definitely more sensitive to people going through hardships. That may be because I've been watching my kid grow up, but I guess I became acutely aware of my own mortality, and went through a pretty traumatic experience. And I guess that changed me. And I don't know if that's, for better or worse. It's just how it is. I guess maybe I've got a bit more perspective, having gone through that. Sometimes I'll think, when I'm worried about something at work, something that may seem like a big problem, I can always fall back on, well, I beat cancer, so what's this problem at work going to do to me? So, it's a life experience. It's just another experience that I've that I can put under my belt. But in general, I don't think about cancer that much anymore. Aside from when I go to my oncologist, which isn't even that often anymore. I don't have to think about cancer anymore. I've kind of put it behind me. I hope that it stays that way. I feel really lucky that I've, my new normal is pretty darn normal.